That was against Flash himself. So you got to know that this guy is down to party with the big boys.
Oh, yes, he is. He's only played one match in Pro League. He's very new to the StarCraft 2 competitive scene when it comes to televised matches. Somebody that popped up really in the last 6 months or so, I would say, as a solid Protoss. And being picked up by CJ Antis, a great pickup for them, a really, really solid Protoss player they can rely on. Up against rOrO here, somebody who's played so many competitive matches, 133 and 144. And, you know, in his Brood War days, he was not as dominant, I guess you could say, as he was in StarCraft 2. But that's really arguable because he definitely had his high points in StarCraft 1 as well. This is his very first Pro League match for this season, and I'm excited that it's against Sora.
I am as well, and this is just like one of these dream fourth matches that you can have, that it actually gets to go to the fourth match that we get to see. Not to say thank you to Stork for losing, but I did really want to see this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could say thank you to him. That's fine. Just don't say
not
thank
to
you
his
to him
face.
personally.
That would be really mean.
That would be really mean and awkward. But I think we're going to jump into this one right away. I wasn't sure if we were having a break or not, but now I'm fairly certain that we are going to go into Sejong right now. Sora versus rOrO, Protoss versus Zerg, 2014 Pro League with Brendan and Wolf.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom right, the red Protoss. This is, of course, Sora of CJ Antis. These two guys having very similar names. Of course, up here in the top left, being the blue Zerg, rOrO.
Row your boat.
Gently down to
Pro
Sora's
League.
base.
Or to Sora's base. All right, well, these map names are just getting ridiculous. Now they're calling it the King Sejong Station, as opposed to the fake one, the Walmart brand Sejong Station.
This is the real one, the real King one, the
Yeah.
King Sejong Station.
Well, this map is really unique. I like to call it the hourglass natural, because if you look at the way the base pans out, you can kind of imagine an hourglass with the main base and the natural, how they connect with that ramp, with that little small bridge in the middle. And once you take the natural, the third base is relatively easy to take for both races in this matchup. It's about the fourth base where things get a little bit scary. We oftentimes see Protoss players hit timings on this map, and for me, I'm not sure if that means that Protoss players are feeling like this is a tough map to play late game Zerg against, or against late game Zerg, or if they're just liking that Protoss has some really strong timings they can use. But I'm pretty sure every single Zerg versus Protoss that we've seen on this map, there's been some sort of aggressive timing coming out of the Protoss, not just sitting back and playing a macro game.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see how Sora does in that certain kind of matchup. We saw him play pretty late game against Flash. Of course, that is a turn, but going up against a Zerg here, going hatchery first is rOrO.
Some of the timings that we've seen from Sora in the past revolve around Immortals, and oftentimes 4 gateway timings with +1. He's had a lot of success with that. On the other hand, Sulky really had his number when he studied his play in WCG, and once Sulky started seeing his ability, he was like, I know you, I can actually just play you in the late game, and everything's going to be fine. And as you can see here, even rOrO not panicking, not getting stressed out about that very fast. Pylon fake there. He's got his Overlord ready to scout.
Yeah, rOrO not even responding too greatly there. Just sending down one drone just in time, getting the cancel there. Sora continuing to harass with this probe, throwing down those 2 gases after expanding himself.
And I'm curious to see... Oh! Did he actually have a spawning pool started then canceled it? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think,
oh, no. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it went down.
Yeah, it just finished. I was like, no, the hatchery doesn't feel like a double hatch before pool, but Wolf had a brain fart there. Oops. Tell your friends.
Oops.
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 Well, I think now that we've established that that I totally botched that and everybody should laugh at me. Let's talk about the natural. If you look at the natural on the mini-map, it looks like there's 2 entrances to the natural. There are, in fact, but one entrance is covered by destructible rocks. So in order to come from that side, you have to kill the rocks. See the rocks here. It verifies, or it matches on the other side. That probe is up to no good, that's for sure. With a probe over there, I could definitely see forward pylon causing some problems for rOrO at his natural.
Those probes that go in and they harass your drones, and they're all up in your face and just so annoying to deal with. And then they have those minerals in their hand and they run away. You just know they're up to something sneaky. We saw him up there. He's just sitting there, and probes don't like to not work. They like to be hardworking guys. He's waiting for the perfect moment to drop something sneaky.
I think it was in the StarCraft 1 instruction manual where I read this, where they called bases towns. Regardless, I think you could read like in the instruction manual that one of the strengths of Protoss is you need to make sure, or if you're playing as Protoss, make sure you find every last probe, because one probe can rebuild an entire town, or in contemporary terms, rebuild an entire base by itself. As long as you have the resources, one probe can queue up anything it wants and start to build. So one probe is a very scary thing, and one pylon goes down for that one probe. Remember, though, to attack the natural, he will have to kill those rocks, so he's going to actually have to walk quite some ways if he wants to be aggressive with these gateways.
Yeah, definitely. The Overlord is coming in here. Is he going to spot that Twilight Council? That is the question.
Doesn't look like it.
Seems like he's queued up to eventually get down there, but he's going to get killed by that Stalker, and immediately another nasty, dirty probe coming over here, adding some more gateways. That's 3 extra, and in total, that's 7, guys.
Yep. And we're going to see that blink timing again. Really, really aggressive timing. And all Protoss players are saying this map is for all-ins, at least for timings. Nobody's really playing macro games. Nobody's playing straight up. It's all about the timings. I think one of the reasons why, just looking at this map again, this is the 3rd time we've commentated this particular map for this matchup. The 3rd base is really far away for a Zerg. And if you look at that, you could see why maybe a Protoss player would be tempted to go for an all-in. Also, that backdoor at the natural, if you knock that down, can be really, really scary. The Zerg player can, of course, identify this with his gas here, but it doesn't make it any easier to defend, especially without Zergling speed. He's making 22 Zerglings right now, but speed is not done. He starts 3 spine crawlers. He's starting to get a little bit desperate here.
He's panicking. He knows something is up, and if Sora actually pulls off this all-in, it's going to go to an ace match, guys. Sora coming in with 7 gateways and blink. That's going to finish in no time, adding another pylon even closer.
Yeah, you can actually blink in the main base of the Warp Prison using that. That Queen got a little bit too close to the sun and got burned. Rocks are down. Here we go. The flank is on with the Zerglings. Time warp on those spine crawlers. And the Zealots actually blocked that Zergling force. And here we go. There's the surround. Speed's not done. Blink is not done yet either. He's going to have to wait for that. And he's going to want to slowly blink back towards the safety of those pylons. And there he goes.
Get the blink. The time warp was pretty nice too. The speed is finished though too, and with blink on cooldown, he's not able to micro. Now he is. And the question is rOrO going to be able to hold this off for enough time? 7 gateways, that is so much production. He did finish 2 of these spine crawlers. That is going to help in the defense. He has burrow on the way as well.
That's thinking really far ahead, because that's going to take quite some time to finish. A few more roaches on the way as well. The problem with these Zerglings is they're not quite able to get a lot of surface area here against these Stalkers. Once the Stalkers back up against that wall, he's got to be careful though. The rest of those Zerglings are actually going for his forward pylons over here, and he's actually just going to let those go.
I think he's going to let them go. I mean, he chased all of these guys back here because he didn't want this pylon to go down. He wanted to finish off all the Zerglings, but the Zerglings doing enough damage to take out that pylon, and the other ones that came out take off these forward pylons.
So lucky that you can say that that pylon survived up at the north. He's supply blocked though as well. This slows down his push. He needs more units here, and he's just not going to have them for quite some time. A few more roaches pop out. It looks like things are golden for Sora. He's got to be careful though, engaging down the ramp, especially against time warps. I love this counterattack. This is the kind of thing that made me a fan of rOrO from the beginning when he switched to StarCraft 2.
This is him thinking ahead. It's him distracting this push. He's got to bring this back. And with all these spine crawlers and so many queens and roaches, and the counterattack as well, kind of trying to get in here, gets by the force field.
Just barely pushing his way through. It is going to be cleaned up here, but this is more warp ins at home, which means no more aggressive warp ins. Tech getting better and better for rOrO right now. He has the burrow tech as well. Looks like he's maybe going to get a stalker here. Targeted a little bit wrong, but he continues to use that burrow. And I don't know. I mean, looking at the way things are right now, we could try to blink it in the main base. This is something that rOrO doesn't seem to be very concerned about.
And this is basically what he can do. This burrow, though, is so nice because Sora does not have any detection with this build, but he's got to be careful. He could take out this Roach Warren, now targeting it down, but the Zergling's coming in here, not going to be able to finish it off just yet. Going to be forced to try to blink down here.
Oh man, just getting barely close enough to the edge to go up there. Don't forget, Stalkers outrange Roaches, so with Roaches on the high ground there, they need to be careful how close to get to the edge. The Stalkers can always outrange them. Could unburrow these Zerglings at any time to continue the harassment. Roaches doing a lot here. No detection still. The robotics only now being started. He's going to get a probe or two with those Zerglings. And things are looking worse and worse for Sora here, but rOrO, on the other hand, economically needs to get a lot more drones out.
Yeah, he really does. He has a lot of army units. That's what you see on the supply tab. You know, it is pretty even right now, but he does not have the amount of drones, like you said, that he needs to go into this mid-game. He did successfully hold off the push. See, now Sora is getting a robotics facility as well as a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, Dark Shrine, an interesting choice. These Roaches will finally be cleaned up. They're trying to target down sentries, trying to get the most worth, the most bang for their buck here. This Stalker force is not really going to accomplish anything more in the main base. Could try to get something done at the natural, but with those spine crawlers there and the possibility to just run right back down, I think we've reached the point in this game where both players are going to have to move out of this phase. There's the lair started, there's the forge started, and the fourth base is going up as well as a macro hatch. I think we're going to that mid game, that transition.
Yeah, it just seems like in this situation, both players have to do this, and it's very smart. Getting that forward, he's going to be able to get those upgrades going. We see 2 Abo Chambers coming out of rOrO, so he's going to be able to get it faster. He finally gets this Observer over here to take out those burrowed units that were just so annoying to him. He is starting that 3rd Nexus as well. At the same time, though, rOrO getting his 4th up over here.
Yeah, 4th base is up. There goes the Burrow Zerglings to eliminate that pylon. And goodbye, pylon. No more forward warp in point here. He's going to need a warp prism or, you know, another pylon later to actually continue any sort of aggression. 3rd base is going up here for Sora. The position for Sora is not terrible because he was able to sneak out that robotics tech. He has the Immortals on the way, which are going to be useful for him for a little bit longer. But he doesn't have to be concerned about that Infestation Pit tech coming up for his opponent. And also the fact that rOrO's had a 4th base up for quite some time. He's starting to mine from now. He's going to want to get those gases up ASAP too.
Yeah, something you've said a lot before is that sometimes when the Zerg holds off a push, he has a bunch of these army units that he just wish were drones. I mean, he was able to hold off this push, but now he just has all these guys who could have been mining this whole time, getting his economy up, getting his tech up. But now, unless he's able to do a lot of damage with these units, they're not too helpful. He is going to use them, of course, later on, but he could have, of course, built them later on.
Yeah. That's always the trade-off. That's always something you could feel good about as a Pro Ops player when, even though you don't kill your opponent, you make him make a lot of units because his economy is not where it would like to be, because your economy is also not where you would like it to be. With the Swarm Host coming out right now, the idea is, okay, I hope that Sora stays on, you know, Immortal Stalker tech for a little bit longer so he doesn't have that AoE. But this is something that seems Sora expected. Whether he expected it or not, Colossi are going to be units that you want to have. You want to have that AoE damage against Zerg no matter what. But with the timing of these two, I think that Sora's not going to have too big of a problem with his Colossi tech. Are you as perplexed as I am about that Dark Shrine? Did we see 2?
Yeah, I was looking on the mini-map. I think he might have canceled that one because it was next to that pylon over there in the north of his name.
I think you're right.
So I think he did cancel it, and now he's remaking it. These Roaches going to get caught out trying to take out those rocks. Pretty small advantage here.
Yep, Sora under attack. Meanwhile, at the 3rd base, there's a huge group of units here, but his wall is tight. And by tight, I don't mean Tuco from Breaking Bad tight. I mean like fully walled off, 3 warp gates there, no Roaches, no speeders sitting by. This counterattack is really scary. The Mothership Core, is it with this army? Yeah, it is. So he actually can maybe snipe the hatchery and then recall home. Not going to be easy with all these locusts. He has to make a choice.
Yeah, he really does. He is going to try, at least for now, to try to take out this hatchery and maybe back off after that. It is a bunch of locusts, but he has been able to take them out so far.
He's actually able to get these units coming out of the eggs as well as killing the extractors as well. Nicely done, but uh-oh, that wall is not tight. That wall is totally open, and one Colossus at the back trying to help out, but the Speedlings are already in the main.
Speedlings in the main doing a bunch of damage to these probes over here. He's going to run them out. That Colossi also has to be careful, but these Roaches are just going to target down other stuff. Doing a bunch of damage to the economy so far.
Yeah, this is a nice little win here for rOrO, who also wants to remax with some better units. He's got his high slowly but steadily on the way. A 5th base is up for him now as well that he can start mining from. He's in a position where these swarm hosts could be more useful a little bit further forward, but I don't blame him for playing this a little bit safe right now because the Protoss army is very deadly. What he's trying to do is avoid that army repeatedly and force it to stay home while he gets that hive tech up. Probably going to see Vipers pretty soon here.
Yeah, we could definitely see Vipers. We also have a bunch of Corruptors coming out, trying to blink over there and defend that. The Locust continuing to swarm in here. No pun intended coming from the swarm hosts. Sora trying to add a 4th base as well. And those swarm hosts have been moved up just a little bit, but the rally point for the Locust not changed.
Yeah, he's got to make sure he's on top of that. We do see the Greater Spire on the way, so rather than swarm hosts at first, we are going to see you know, some Brood Lords, or rather not swarm hosts, but Vipers. Could see both as the game drags on. But not the worst position to be in for either player. I think the way this game is going to play out right now is based on the decision-making and the engagements that these two players take. And the player who has to make the next step is definitely Sora right now. He needs to actually maybe add some Stargate tech to get Tempest out, or potentially Void Rays. He's also got the Temple Archives coming up for not only the Storms, but also Archons being added in later. So he's got that going for him, but he really is going to want some Stargate units, especially against those Brood Lords.
Yeah, you're totally right. The burden is on Sora to do something here. He's doing a bunch of harass with these Dark Templar. He was trying to get one in over there as well as go for a push over here. Seems like he's going to commit to this pretty strongly, but look at this defense over here. So many Spine Crawlers as well as a bunch of Corruptors for any Colossi there in here.
Yeah, a very aggressive blink forward here with all the Spine Crawlers. It's pretty tough for him to actually just stick around on top of those Corruptors. Would have liked to get those Archons in there. If he could just blink his Stalkers back and get the Archons up the ramp, the Corruptors are not going to have a good time there. Meanwhile, a run by down here, he's got so many Warpins, though he can just ignore it.
Yeah, enough gateways here to stop any real backdooring that goes on here. This Dark Templar over here with 4 kills only, but at least stopping mining there for a bit.
He could actually get the hatch. Nope, focus here over there. The upgrades for Sora have really been hurting him this game. He's so behind in that. He doesn't even have +2 just yet. I mean, we're already past the 21-minute mark, almost at 22. No +2. Charge is coming out a little bit late as well. And some decent shots there on those Corruptors, but I like that he's splitting his army here. He's really trying to make rOrO think exactly about how he wants to engage.
Yeah, he's making the best of his army here. He has these Blink Stalkers. He has such big mobility here. At the same time, he's going for another attack here, but with the Broodlords, he's got to be careful, as well as the Swarm Host. A lot of these little guys are going to be coming in here. One Colossi goes down. He's able to take that hatchery out, though.
Yep. And there's the triple Stargate transition I was talking about. You can see it on the production tab. Warp Prism's coming in as well, so we can start to attack the tech of his opponent, get into that infrastructure. I like Sora's position more and more. He has a 4th base up. A Protoss player has a 4th base. He can make whatever he wants, literally. That's why he's got the 3 Stargates on the way. He's getting Storm as well. And 8 Spines, 2 Spores, and continued Corruptor production right now for rOrO, who really desperately needs that 5th base remade. He's also able to see the transition to Stargates with those Roaches.
Yeah, and that's good information for him. He's going to be able to respond to that however he likes. Getting even more Spines, like you mentioned, at all of his bases. Playing very, very defensive off of 5 base. He's very easily able to do this. Like you said before, the onus was on Sora to make a tech switch here to respond to what rOrO was doing, and now rOrO about maxed out. We're going to have to see if he goes for any aggression or how he responds to this. A huge Protoss army now. He's got to make the correct composition here to go straight up against this.
Yeah, the thing is, these Locusts are always going to be pretty cost efficient against the Protoss army. They're always going to get a little bit of damage done. They're always going to keep the Protoss army back. They're never going to kill it, though. And they're definitely never going to kill any Void Rays. Void Rays, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've probably said it 12, 15, maybe even 20 times. You have to respect the Void Rays. And if you do not do that, you lose the game. And that's why I'm so happy to see that we have at least 3 Infestors being made right now. As he adds more Spine Crawlers and trades more Roaches like this, he can start to add more Infestors. Infestors are absolutely key against Void Rays to get those fungals off, to get those stacked Void Rays. Oh, this pathing on that Archon. That's a lot of resources down the drain. But you want to get those fungals off. You want to be able to drop the Infested Terrans to help assault that Protoss composition. If you just sit back and max out with Corruptors, That's not what you want, especially when Storm's there.
Yeah, definitely. He is able to pick off that War Prison, thankfully.
He's not messing around when it comes to defense of that main base. He's got the Corruptors there, all those Spine Crawlers. I'd love to see a Spine Crawler count at some point once those 12 finish. I think we've probably got at least 25, 26 on the map with them all over the bases. Look at these Spine Crawlers here at the natural, at the 5th base, at the 4th. I think the only place that's missing spines is third, the least likely place where we'll ever see an engagement from Sora.
Yeah, like you said, again, these Locusts, they just keep on coming out and they're trading. Even if they're just getting shields, they're keeping the Protoss army back. He does have those Voideries. He is making the Fleet Beacon as well, probably going to continue with the Tempest right after this.
Yeah, four more Infestors coming out right now. He's just continuing to build that Infestor count up. The Tempest, like you said, are going to be a big threat later to Broodlords, and also he can research +2 arrow weapons with that Fleet Beacon. He's actually drawing the Corruptors back with these fake hallucinations, of course scouted by that Overseer, so he's not too worried about that anymore. Now we have a 5th base being made in a Protoss versus Zerg, and that means the Protoss is going to start to build a really, really big bank if he can get that uncontested. And he wants to continue to further his Void Ray count. There's +2 for air, so that's what the Fleet Beacon is going to be for now.
And the one thing I'm worried about for rOrO is that we saw in the previous game between Hydra and Reality where it went to, 55 minutes. The maxed out Zerg army is not the strongest. He has to build that bank. He has to be ready. If this goes super long and he lets the Protoss army get a bunch of Temps, a bunch of Void Rays, like you said, just have that really nice army of Colossi, he could really be in trouble in the later game, getting a bunch of nice fungals here.
Yep, that's what you need. The fungals are really good. He grabs the Colossi. There's a recall, a panic recall to try to save those units, but actually it takes away so much of his army. Now the Colossi are starting to go down for free here. The Locust on the low ground doing so much damage as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you engage a Protoss player with a Death Ball. That's how you do it. You come up with your Infestors. You have to find that opening. You have to find that angle before the Tempests are out, before your Infestors are useless. You got to dodge those feedbacks. You get in there and pick off unit after unit, slowly but steadily. Start moving those Spine Crawlers forward, Startail Curious style. These Zealots are trying to find a way here into the infrastructure, but there's way too many spines. I really like how rOrO is playing this, so patient. And he's using the Spine Crawlers to actually give his Vipers more energy.
That's just a really cool thing here. We see Sora continuing to send in Zealots against those Spine Crawlers, not doing much. And in that battle, just so many of the expensive Protoss units were taken out, and that's just, it takes so long to build those Tempests and those Colossi. It's just not what Sora wants here.
Notice he goes for the probes before the Nexus here, knowing that the Nexus is not going anywhere. The Nexus can't move. So he takes out the probes. Now the next wave comes in here. We'll finish the Nexus. We'll also probably kill a few more of those probes, eliminating further the economy for Sora right now. And Sora's bases are starting to mine out. His main base is mined out. His natural is mined out. His 3rd base is starting to get mined out. And he's trading all of his minerals against Spine Crawlers, against a Zerg player who's got a great economy, who's more than happy to trade Spines against Zealots cost efficiently like this.
Yep, he's basically, eventually he's going to have to come back here and clean it up. And
yeah.
That's basically all it's going to be, a distraction. But like you said, he's like, okay, if you want to trade like this, that's fine. I'll just keep a bunch of my really awesome units while you just keep on throwing Zealots at me.
Yeah, Broodlords coming back here to help defend. The 2 Spines defending the gas, the only important part of the natural. So basically, Sora just spent over 1,000, maybe even over 2,000 resources on Zealots that killed the Spine Crawlers. Whereas meanwhile, the Broodlord army, the Corruptors, they're all still alive around here. Continue to push forward, now barreling down on the opponent's natural. And look at the map control. It's all in rOrO's favor right now.
Yeah, you can look at the map right now, just totally purple. More than half the map is there. He's moving the Spine Crawlers forward. We even see a bunch of Spore Crawlers as well. Continuing to move that creep forward, getting Queens up there. And really all Sora is trying to do is distract him with these continuous pushes. Now even with an Overseer over here, that Dark Templar is not going to do anything. Yep. Parking his Broodlords here for now until he decides to go up for an attack, waiting for those Spine Crawlers to get up.
He's basically just saying, oh, more money for me, that's fine. I'm just going to sit back. I'll move my Broodlords over when you decide to finally do something with that Death Ball that can't move out without me seeing it because I have creep everywhere. My Locusts that are going to get a free Colossus here. rOrO is controlling this game without even really moving. He's just defensively creeping across the map, getting any small unit that he could find, in this case a Void Ray, and doesn't even lose any Corruptors. Gets 2 Stalkers as well, and here come the Locusts on the other side.
Yeah, bases the blink forward and gets a bunch of Stalkers as well.
rOrO is on fire right now in this game. He's making that very, very strong death ball that so many Zerg players fear look like nothing. He's just controlling the map with free units. Broodlord sending Broodlings to the left. The Locust coming from the right side. He's always got flanks with those. He never has any shortage of Spine Crawlers and static defense. Constantly creeping forward. And now he's getting close to the most critical base for Sora, which is his 4th. And if he can get that 4th down, then that's game over. It's lights out. Look at the bank for rOrO. Look at the bank, or not bank, for Sora.
the empty bank of Sora.
Look at the broken piggy bank that's shared on the floor with like only pennies. And right now,
if that.
Sora basically has to make this game work with pennies. A drone killed, well, that Zealot I think with 3/3 could, I don't think he has 3 armor, but with 3 attack can kill like almost infinity drones, as we just saw.
Yeah.
Drones not that relevant though in this game anymore.
This is such an interesting style out of rOrO, just continuing with this huge Zerg death ball even, and just continuing to move the creep forward. It's very Zergy, you know, continuing to make Spine Crawlers, Spore Crawlers even.
With all the static defense and the creep and the way he's controlled the map with his Locust, there's only one way for Sora to move on the map. And that's when he comes over here, finds these weak points. Sora has had some terrible rallies this game as well. To be honest, I think there's a little bit of nerve issues going on for Sora right now in this game. I think he's going to have to recall here. Oh, well, not anymore. Not if he loses his Mothership Core, and it's gone. Now he's trapped. Now he's got nowhere to run. He actually cannot escape.
And you see all of these investors coming in, getting continuous bungles all over the army over here. He's going to move his Broodlords in position as well as the Swarm Hose.
And all the money that Sora has that he spent on these units is now disappearing in a flash before his eyes. Another bungle goes down. The Broodlords at the back doing so much damage. The Corruptors very carefully moving forward here. Respected the Void Rays. GG, and rOrO and Samsung Khan take the win. That is some of the best Zerg versus Protoss play I have ever seen. Some of the best play that we've seen to deal with that late game Protoss army. Really using the map to his advantage, using the Locust, always controlling so much static defense, leaving nothing to chance, and I mean nothing.
That gave me chills watching rOrO play like that against Sora, just at every turn, even defending the Blink Stalker with 7 gate aggression in the beginning of the game. Remember that happened, as well as going into the later parts of the game, getting up 4 or 5 saturated bases, moving that creep all the way across the map, the Spine Crawlers, the Wall Crawlers, the static defense, all of these different units that can continuously send out little Locusts, Broodlings, continuous things to control the map, and just slowly suffocate the Protoss, force him to make not a good attack,
Not
a lackluster attack, and just in the end, suffocating.
Yeah, not to say that Sora played a bad game, but he made a lot of critical mistakes, notably losing Tempest and Colossi for no reason, and